Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Outliers YouTube channel and our program, Get to Know. I'm your host, DP Lyle, and I'm here with my cohort in crime, Kathleen Antrim.
Thanks, Doug. It is great to be here. And today we have a fabulous interview for you. We've got best-selling author, USA Today best-selling author, Don Bruns with us. Welcome, Don.
Thank you. And you don't know it's going to be a fabulous interview yet.
I do. I'm clairvoyant.
You're anticipating.
I'm going with my intuition.
We spent enough time with you, Don, that we know.
So, Don, I always ask this question of our guests, and so you get to be another victim. I'd love to hear about your childhood and whether or not you feel your childhood contributed to you becoming a writer. Were you a shy child? Were you extroverted? Were you an athlete? Did you read a lot? Did you have imaginary friends? Tell us.
I read a lot. I was I was in theater as second or third grade. I was the one who came out and picked up the musical or the stage thing, whatever we were doing at the time. But the coolest thing that happened to me was in the fourth grade, our teacher got up in front of 28 kids and she said, "We're going to write a book this year." And we all looked at each other and she said, "I'm going to write a chapter, then desk one is going to write the second chapter, and desk two," and down we have 29 chapters. So she said, "What do you want to write?" And so we all said, "Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew." You know, that's what we read. That's what we knew. That was our Harry Potter. And so she said, "All right." So we got fourth graders solving a crime. We didn't think it was that outlandish, but we did it. And 28 weeks later, 29 weeks later, she mimeographed. You guys are too young to remember mimeograph.
I remember.
Oh, I remember.
Well, on those things. But anyway, she mimeographed 3 or 4 copies and we passed them around and took them home and showed them to people. And I remember thinking, I can do this. I don't need 29 co-authors. I could do this myself. And that was the first time that I really felt that I wanted, and I pursued it in a number of ways. I wrote for newspapers. I did this, that, but that led me to, when I was 50, to say, I got to do this. I got to be serious about this. I want to write it myself and not have 29 fourth graders, in the book with me.
So that's what inspired you to start writing at age 50, to start writing professionally. What was your career prior to writing?
I was in advertising. I had I worked selling and producing commercials for radio stations, television commercials, for the companies themselves, and then started my own advertising agency. When I came out of college, I had a buddy, and we had the 2-man stand-up comedy act. We'd had a rock and roll band, and then he learned to play guitar. Anyway, we went on the road and we worked cheap Holiday Inns and bowling alleys, and we ended up working the Playboy circuits, and we did Vegas, and we warmed up people like Ray Charles and Ricky Nelson and the Platters.
Wow.
And we had a marvelous 4 years on the road. We didn't have to grow up. We were, we didn't trash hotel rooms, but we had a good time. And so, yeah, and I had the age, so I came out of that and started an advertising agency. And that was actually 35 years of doing that. And we did projects locally in Ohio, my little town in Ohio, but we were national in scope. I did a McDonald's jingle.
Wow, big account.
For chili. And 6 months after I did it, they dropped the chili, and I kind of thought maybe it was because the jingle sucked. I don't know. But, I took it
it's so interesting to me because you are not the only thriller author I know, or mystery author, that has come out of the advertising world. James Patterson was in advertising.
Oh my God, yes.
MJ Rose, I think Andy Gross. I mean, a number of. So if you're out there and you're in advertising, you may have a career in writing.
Chris Grabenstein worked for Patterson.
That's right. That's right.
In New York. Yeah, with J. Walter Thompson.
Yeah.
And you know the story about Patterson. Patterson wrote his book when he was president of J. Walter Thompson, which was at the time the biggest advertising agency in the country. And he went to the networks, the radio networks at the time, and he said, "I want to buy advertising for my book." And they said, "Okay, here's the rate." And he said, "Oh, no." He said, it's much too high. And they said, "If you want to buy," and he said, "Okay, then I will take Ford, I will take GM, I will take Prudential off the air." And they said, "Wait a minute, we can negotiate." He used that,
Good for
That's
him.
funny. That's funny.
No, but you know what it is about, advertising, writing copy is you take 4,000 pages and you reduce it to a brochure or a 30-second commercial. If you can do that and keep the excitement, the energy, the romance, and the message up front, that is, to me, one of the most valuable lessons. And I did that for 35 years. So that was kind of the way to do it, was to I start with a brief story, and then I expand on it, because I was used to taking a lot of information and bringing it down to a very small
Yeah.
figure.
A lot of newspaper writers, have the same background. I mean, a lot of writers went through the newspaper thing and doing investigative reporting or newspaper articles and magazine articles, because you have to be very economical. And so
Yeah. Yours truly.
they
Yeah.
learn to be thriller writers, because you have to be economical to be a thriller writer.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Exactly.
Do you think your stand-up comedy helped you with your writing? Because that's always fascinating to me.
Yes, very much so. The creative process, especially in that you don't have, in many cases, time to prep. You're out there. And so when they say, the best thing about writer's block, just write. Don't think about it. Just do it. And when you're on stage and the audience isn't working, or you're not, you have to improvise. You have to be quick on your feet for 4 hours. And I think I learned a lot doing that. And I learned
Yeah.
how to change things and rewrite right there on the
Pivot.
stage,
Yeah.
because this isn't working, so I'm going to try this. And yeah, I applied all that in writing. Plus, I have a series of 5 books that I did with Ocean View, who you were with or are with, I don't know,
Yeah.
about 2 guys who go on the road. So I actually,
Yeah.
they are private detectives in Miami, and they're bumblers. But I used a lot of my 4 years on the road, putting that
Sure.
into the 2 characters.
I love it.
So after all that, you decided to start writing novels. Did you find that all of these succinct methods of telling stories and getting stuff, did that turn you into a pantser or a outliner?
No, I fly by the seat of my pants, because this is the way I always
Yeah,
wrote. I
exactly.
always, in the comedy thing, I said it was making it up on the spot
Sure.
and not knowing where I'm going next. But I love that thrill. Charlene Harris, who writes the True Blood series, said, I moderated a panel years ago in Cleveland, and I loved her line when we asked that question, which all writers are asked
Right.
over and over again.
Right.
Do you plot, or do you
Yeah.
make it up? And she said, "Don," she said, "I want to be surprised when I open that door."
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. As
She
only
doesn't
she
want
can.
she doesn't want to know who's on the other side. But it was when I was 50, I said, I got to get serious about this. But what I did, I went to Jamaica. I told my wife, I said, I'm going on a little sabbatical. I'm going to take my guitar. I'm going to sit on the beach. And I did that. And I spent 5, 7 days in Jamaica. I came back and I called my accountant and I said, how can I write this off? And he said, write a book. So I did. I sold it.
Wow. That's phenomenal.
Well, and so you've written over 20, as you say on your website, what is it? Cheap, tawdry murder mysteries.
They are.
Tell us how that career got started and what's going on there now.
With what now? With the
With your murder, with your mysteries, and and you have series. What's going on there now?
Well, we are doing right this moment, and this. You and I talked in Nashville a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago about this, but we're doing a series of anthologies. We, being me,
Right.
I was contacted 6, 7 years ago by a guy who's doing a Jimmy Buffett songs titles, And he said, would you do Cheeseburger in Paradise?
Oh, wow. Love that.
So I thought this is fun. So I immediately came up with a hitman who's in Munster, Iowa, and he's sitting in a cafe called Paradise, and he's eating a cheeseburger, and he's contemplating how he's going to kill the person in that town that he's contracted. So we did that, and I called my agent, and she said, "Oh my God, I wish we'd thought of that." All the Jimmy Buffett fans out there, and I said, "Well, come on, we could do this. I mean, there's a million ideas out there." So we did. I said, let's do Hotel California. And
Oh, love it.
she said, well, okay, but who are you going to get? And I said, give me a week. So I called her 4 days later, and I had Heather Graham, Andrew Child doing a Jack Reacher story, John Gilstrap, who you know, Reed Farrell Coleman. I got some really big names.
That's
so
fabulous.
Hotel California.
Yeah.
Love it.
Then she said, well, I got it sold. And it was sold to Blackstone. And she said, what's next? They want to know. And I said, well, let's do Michael Jackson's Thriller. And she said, who are you going to get? And we're going to do each title, each song title. I'm trying to get my books arranged here. So
yeah.
There is Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Love it.
And I got Heather Graham, Kent Kruger, Neil Plaxey, Jeffrey Deaver is in it with an original. The cool thing is, if you can see this, when you take the cover off.
Oh, wow.
If you put that on your turntable, you'll ruin the needle, so don't do that. But in July, Back in Black we did, which is AC/DC's album.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Love it.
And we got again, we got Andrew Child did a Jack Reacher story. We got Sandy Balzo, Reed Coleman, Heather Graham, Charles Todd, and Ward Larson. You know the only thing missing in all three books?
What's that?
You guys aren't in it. So, you know.
Well, next
then call
time,
us for
maybe.
the next one.
You'll work on
Well,
it.
no, but Doug is doing one for me next year.
That's good.
That's right. You threatened me.
I did.
I love it.
Over a bourbon in Nashville. Yes.
But these are fun. Yeah, these
absolutely.
Were fun to do. And it was a great chance to connect with people that I've always admired and I've got to know over the years at conferences and at the bar.
Do you put stories in each one of these yourself? I mean,
oh yes. Oh
yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
How could you not?
Get a chance to be in a book with Deaver, to get a chance to be in a book with Jack Reacher, you know.
Sure.
That's to me, you know.
Exactly.
Sure, that's fun.
So
Well, at Outliers, we're working on a concept right now to do our own short story anthology, and we will definitely have you involved in that.
Oh, good.
We're not sure, but Stacy Woodson and Michael Bracken are kind of spearheading this thing for us, and so it's going to be a good one. It'll be fun, and it'll carry on the Outliers tradition. We don't know if we're going to call it Outcast or Off the Beaten Path, or we're coming up with different titles, but you know what we're talking about. We will stories about people who are a little out of the norm,
and not in their own environment. They're somehow they're in some strange.
They're in somewhere else, and stranger in a strange land and get in trouble.
Fish out of water.
Yeah. So what's next for you? What are you doing? What are you doing now?
We're working a number. Well, next year is going to be Bat Out of Hell, which is the Meatloaf album.
I love that album.
Baby. And I give all the other authors a chance to pick their title, and nobody picked 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad. So I got that one, which I love that song, and I love that. I
love that song.
You can do a lot with that, you know.
Yeah.
And then Bat Out of Hell is going to be Jack Reacher's story. And again, we've got a really stellar cast of authors writing shorts. They've all
doing Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Yes, and
who's doing that one? Do you know?
I love that song. I think Charles Todd is doing that.
Yeah, my favorite is I'll do anything for love. I'll do anything but love, but I won't do that.
But I won't do.
My favorite love song, baby.
Yeah. That was it. They got some fabulous titles in there.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and then
Love
we've
it.
got we're doing the I'm editing the MWA, the Mystery Writers of America anthology next year.
Oh,
And
Oh,
okay.
you're
cool.
going to be in that. And we've got again a great cast of established authors. But the nice thing about that anthology, which is Blood on the Bayou, is that we have a contest where we encourage submissions, and then we blind judge them,
Yeah.
so that we take the name off of the book,
Yeah.
and we judge it. It might mean that, or it might mean we wear blindfolds and we
Yeah.
try to read the book. I don't know. Anyway,
Throw
Haven't
darts at
read
the
to you.
pictures. Yeah, you never
yes.
know.
But
Yeah.
anyway, the cool thing is that again, people who have never been published are getting an opportunity to
Yes.
do that. They have to write a story about New Orleans. And the cool thing is that they will be next to established authors,
Yeah.
which gives them a leg up and a credibility as far as
Absolutely.
in your resume. You say, yeah, I was in a book with, Heather Graham and Charles Todd and Doug. So, it's
Yeah.
it's fun.
Very exciting. Very,
Yeah.
very exciting.
And
So
the
are
other
you working
thing,
on any of your series right now?
well, yeah, we are shopping a new. I wrote a New Orleans series called the first book was Casting Bones, which is in reference to a canvas map and chicken bones that the voodoo people
I
throw
love how
down.
you've got the voodoo element in there.
Oh, I'm having
Yeah.
so much fun with that. There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
And well, when that came out, that was #1 in African American mystery, and it was #4 in police procedures, and #4 in murder thrillers. So it did
Yeah.
really well. And I've got a production company that contacted me and said, we want to explore making a movie. So we've got an option agreement. They have a working script that we're going to look at next week. And
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
those things don't often
Yeah.
get done. But then
Yeah.
again, I sat back and I said, okay, the people I came up with, Chuck Box,
Right.
last year he had 2 series,
Yes.
one on
Yes.
CBS, one on Amazon. Mike Conley,
Mhm.
who's a good friend. Mike has got what, 3, Lincoln Lawyer, Bosch and Bosch something. And then Deaver has
Tracker.
Tracker going on
Tracker.
CBS.
Right.
I said, why can't I get a deal? Come on, it's
Of
my
course you
turn.
can. Somebody's going to get one. They need stuff for television. Why not you?
Right. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Don, it's been just terrific to have you. You're a fantastic interview, as I knew you would be. And thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have you back as things start to progress with, you've got a lot of irons in the fire. So we need to definitely get you back as things, come up so you can talk more about them. And Doug, I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to you.
Yeah, Don, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to sit and chat as we do often. And looking forward to seeing you in New Orleans, if not
Yes.
before, because, well, why not? It's New Orleans. I'm sure we'll have some lies to swap then. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for being with us. This is the Outliers YouTube channel and our program Get to Know. And until next time, and we'll be back with other interviews and more fun. So until then, keep writing, keep reading.
Thumbs up.